So people tend to look to the future in order to understand prophecy rather than looking into the past. And I'm always pointing to the past. And today it's going to be no different. Everybody's looking for some sort of futuristic sign. I'm going to point toward a template of the coming disaster upon the Gentiles, and I'm going to go in the past to find it. So, in order to get this started and set the template here, set the table, I should say, we will first, once again, go to every prophecy preacher's favorite scripture, and that is in 1 Thessalonians 5, right? I will only spend just a short time on it. It's just to set the table. Verse 1, but of the times and seasons, brethren, you have no need that I write unto you, for you yourselves know perfectly that the day of Jehovah's wrath so comes as a thief in the night. Now, the day of Jehovah's wrath is also the day of Messiah, as a thief in the night. Now, the word night is used here figuratively, but it also can be literally. And you go to where it talks about the parable of the 5 wise and 5 foolish virgins. Clearly, when the clock strikes midnight, that is when there is absolute chaos on the earth, which means it's figuratively speaking, but also literally, because it is written in another place where it says, where the Messiah says, "You do not know when the Master comes. It could be late in the evening, when the cock crows, or early in the morning." So that's all surrounding times of when the sun is down. You see. All right, but what I really going after is the one that all the preachers talk about. This one in verse 3, for when they shall say, or when they are saying, in other translations, which is more proper, because they've been saying peace and safety for a while. So while they are saying peace and safety, they've been saying that actually since 1981 in this particular generation, lifetime, whatever you want to call it, right? And they are continuing to say it. Peace and safety, peace and safety, peace and safety, peace and safety. While they are saying, not when they shall say, but while they are saying peace and safety, then sudden destruction comes upon them. Not us. What do you mean, not us, Henry? It's us versus them. It's the unbelieving Gentiles versus Israel and those who are grafted in. So them is the unbelieving Gentile. Yep. All right. Upon them is travail upon a woman with child, and they, once again, they and them, the unbelieving Gentile versus Israel, and the Gentile who is grafted into Israel. All right. Now, as I said, if you want to learn something about the future, you have to look to the past. So there is a word that caught my attention yesterday, and it's because my dad and I have talked about this quite a few times in the past. It is in Zechariah 1. Now, before we get started with this, Zechariah 1 was concerning the first destruction of Jerusalem. Okay? So, like I said, we get context here. And we'll start in verse 1. And in the 8th month, in the 2nd year of Darius or Darius, came the word of Jehovah unto Zechariah, the son of Berechiah, the son of Edo, the prophet, saying, Jehovah has been sore displeased with your fathers, that being the Israelites. Therefore say you unto them, thus saith Jehovah of hosts, turn you unto me, says Jehovah of hosts, and I will turn unto you, says Jehovah of hosts. Don't be as your fathers, unto whom the former prophets have cried out, saying, thus saith Jehovah of hosts. Do you not as your fathers unto turn you now from your evil ways and from your evil doings, but they did not hear, nor hearken unto me, saith Jehovah. Your fathers, where are they? And the prophets, do they live forever? But my words and my statutes, which I commanded my servants the prophets, did they not take hold of your fathers? Yes, they did. And they returned and said, like as Jehovah of hosts thought to do unto us according to our ways and according to our doing, so has he dealt with us. Now, we will continue. Now, this particular set of verses is not read very much, but is very, very, very important. This is the one that's overlooked by the preachers. But this is the setting that you can, this is the place you can look to in the past so that you can see in the future. Okay? Verse 12, when the angel of Jehovah answered and said, O Jehovah of hosts, how long will you not have mercy on Jerusalem? The angel is saying to Jehovah, how long? How long will you not have mercy on Jerusalem and on the cities of Judah, against which you have indignation these 70 years? Only 70 years. And even the angels were crying out to Jehovah, saying, how long? And Jehovah answered the angel that talked with me, saying, with good words and with comfortable words. So the angel that communed with me said unto me, cry out, saying, this is what Jehovah of hosts says. I am jealous for Jerusalem and for Zion with a great jealousy. Now, please, folks, please listen to this. This is extremely, extremely important. Then you will have a different understanding. And then you will look at the current narrative of peace and safety with suspect. I am sore displeased with the heathen, the nations that are at ease. Okay? What do we see here? We see the Hebrew word sha'anan. 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 What does it mean? Let's look. At ease or secure. An arrogance undisturbed. Yeah, secure. Let's go back again for just a minute, just a moment, to 1 Corinthians 5. For when they shall say peace and safety, let's look at the word safety in English. It is asphalia 803 in Greek. Certainty and security. Here goes that word again, secure. Now we're able to anchor into some depth here. All right. So you can link This word safety or security in 1 Thessalonians 5 and verse 3, and link it with Sha'anan in Zechariah 1. Zechariah 1. Where did I? Okay. In verse 15. I am very sore displeased with the heathen that are secure. For I was but a little displeased. With who? With Judah and Jerusalem, in comparison. In comparison to how he's displeased with the Gentiles. You know, one could make the argument he was sore. He said right there in the very first verse that he was sore. I think it was in the first verse. He said he was sore displeased with their fathers. Right? In the second verse. All right, if you go to the second verse of Zechariah 1, it says Jehovah has been sore displeased, greatly displeased with your fathers. How is it then? Is he contradicting himself when he said, I am very sore displeased with the heathen that are at ease, for I was but a little displeased with it, it implies Judah and Jerusalem. In comparison, he was but a little displeased with Judah and Jerusalem, in comparison to how displeased he was with the Gentiles, and they helped forward the affliction. And I don't know how I did this, but I accidentally, when I was reading the man among the myrtle trees, in verse 7, upon the 24th day of the 11th month, which is the month of Sebat, in the second year of Darius, came the word of Jehovah unto Zechariah, the son of Berechiah, the son of Edu, the prophet, saying, I saw by night, and behold, a man riding upon a red horse, and he stood among the myrtle trees that were in the bottom, and behind him were there red horses speckled and white. And then said I, O my master, what are these? And the angel that talked with me said unto me, I will show you what these be. And the man that stood among the myrtle trees answered and said, These are they whom Jehovah has sent to walk to and fro through the earth. And they answered the angel of Jehovah that stood among the myrtle trees. And then they said, We have walked to and fro through the earth, and behold, all the earth sits still and is at rest. Right? So this was a time frame when I believe, yes, the second year of Darius. The whole earth is at rest. Now, so the whole earth is at rest, and Jehovah, or then the angel of Jehovah says, O Jehovah of hosts, how long will you not have mercy on Jerusalem and the cities of Judah, against which you have indignation these 70 years? All right. This is while they're at ease. This is while the nations are resting. The angels are asking Jehovah, what are you going to do about Jerusalem? And of course, once again, verse 15, for I was sore displeased. I am very sore displeased with the heathen that are at ease or secure. For I was but a little displeased in comparison. And they, the heathen, the nations, the Gentiles, helped forward the affliction. Now what I want to do is I want to go to a different version. Let's try the New International first, and then we'll go to New Living Translation. Verse 15, and I am very angry with the nations that feel secure. I was only a little angry, but they went too far. They went too far. Against who? Once again, this is the heathen, the nations, the Gentiles versus Judah and Jerusalem, the Jews. They went too far. How did they go too far? Okay, I've talked about this in the last couple of videos. How did they go too far? Well, first of all, one could make the case that this is only concerning Babylon, Nebuchadnezzar. But only a fool would say that this has no bearing on the second fall of Jerusalem. Only a fool would say that. Why? Because what the nations did to Judah and Jerusalem in the second fall of Jerusalem and that which continued thereafter was far, far worse than what the nations did to Judah and Jerusalem the first time. You know it, and I know it. Let's be honest with ourselves here. And if Zechariah 1, the first chapter of Zechariah, is true, then it also applies to the second destruction of the temple and the second dispersion of the Jews. So if you thought Jehovah was angry with the nations that were at ease in the second year of King Darius, you can be certain he is even more angry with the nations today, especially when they are at ease. There can be no doubt, folks. Just take a look around you. The current generation of young folks don't even know how to read a road map. They have had everything given to them hand and foot now. We're talking about Christian nations here, which means Europe, the British Isles, United States, Canada, Australia, and even, if you can believe it, South America. Because, you see, everybody has these cell phones, these smartphones that can talk to you. You don't need a road map. You can buy things online via credit card number with your little smartphone. In most places, say in Europe, United States, Canada, whatever, Australia, air conditioning. No worry about heat. I remember the days when in my youth we didn't live with air conditioning. We didn't have air conditioning. And I know people will say, what? Well, there are many more that are like me, and there are some people in the United States today, even to this day, that don't live with air conditioning. All of these things put people at ease. You see, That's what being at ease means. That's what it's all about. Security. Let's look at the word secure and let's look at it in context with some other scriptures. Job 16:12. When Job was suffering, he didn't know who caused all the suffering that he suffered. He said, I was at ease, but he broke me apart. He also has taken me by the neck and shaken me to pieces and set me up for his mark as his target. See what Job said? I was at ease. All right. Now, Lamentations 1 and verse 5. This is about the city of Jerusalem. Her adversaries are her masters. And her enemies, let's see, let's go. I need to go to a different in her if you go to the Berean Bible, it says her foes have become her masters, her enemies are at ease. Yes. So when Israel's enemies are at ease, which they have been for a long, long time, those who held the Jews in contempt. Did David say something about this? Yes, he did. Let's go to David. Let's see what he says about this. Now, all I got to do is find it. Come on, there it is. Psalm 123 and verse 4. And once again, David is an advocate for Israel in those days, just as the son of David is the advocate for Israel now and in the future. Verse 2, behold, as the eyes of the servants look upon the hand of their masters, as the eyes of the maiden is upon the hand of her mistress, so our eyes wait upon Jehovah, our Elohim, until he shall have mercy upon us. Verse 3, have mercy upon us, O Jehovah, have mercy upon us, for we are exceedingly filled with contempt. Who is so contempted? Has so much contempt upon Israel, upon Jerusalem? Well, you know who they are, the nations. For a long, long time, since 70 AD, or since before 70 AD, have they had contempt upon Jerusalem. And it says, verse 4, our soul is exceedingly filled with the scorning of those that are at ease and with the contempt of the proud. Folks who are at ease, who are secure. Now, you should know by now who he is talking about. So now I will go to Ezekiel 39. And we all know what Ezekiel 38 and 39 is all about, do we not? And I have mentioned many times before that those who dwell carelessly on the coastlands are none other than the Europeans, led by Rome. Okay? Verse 5, talking about Gog and Magog, you shall fall upon the open field, for I have spoken it, saith Jehovah. And I will send a fire on Magog, and among those that dwell carelessly in the coastlands, and they shall know that I am Jehovah. Carelessly. Okay, it's time to go to Strong's Concordance again. Carelessly. Uh-oh. Here comes that word again. This one is a different word in Hebrew, but it means the same thing. It is betach. 983 in the Hebrew Strong's Concordance, and guess what it means? Security. So maybe it's possible we were looking at the word peace too much and didn't look at the word security enough in this whole equation, you think? Security. Confidence. Safely. Safety. Secure. Securely. Security. Unawares. What? Unawares? Where have you heard that one before? Unawares. Unsuspecting. Just go do a little searching. But I almost deleted everything. Unawares. Just want to make sure I cover everything. Hmm. The only thing I can see is in Jude, and it doesn't exactly fit the topic. So I will just leave the unawares alone and get back to security. Okay, so now we know that bitach in Ezekiel 39 and verse 6, and I will send a fire on Magog and among them that dwell carelessly in peace and safety in the coastlands. And they, okay. So this is the peace and safety that Paul was talking about. It has everything to do with the Gog-Magog war. Yes, that's it. And I don't want to steer your eyes away from this. You need to stay focused on this. This is where Paul was talking about peace and safety. Now, you might say, Henry, it is sometime in the future when they shall say peace and safety. No, they've been saying peace and safety since 1981. And who has been saying it? The UN. The UN. Let me show you a few things. All right. So every September the 15th, United Nations, they always mark an International Day of Peace with the annual ringing of the peace bell and calls for combatants worldwide to lay down their arms and observe a day of ceasefire and nonviolence. Is that the day? No, no, it isn't. So when did the International Day of Peace start? Um, let's see here. In 1981, the International Day of Peace, Peace Day, is observed around the world each year on the 21st of September, established in 1981 by unanimous United Nations resolution. Peace Day provides a globally shared date for all humanity to commit to peace above all differences and to contribute to a building of culture of peace. Is that it? No, that's not it. That may have been when it started, but as Paul said, while they are saying peace and safety. And so in 1987, the nuclear arms treaty between the Soviet Union and the United States commenced. It was signed by President Ronald Reagan and the premier of the Soviet Union, Mikhail Gorbachev. And of course, millennials today have no idea who either national leader was. They don't know anything about Ronald Reagan. They don't know anything about uh, Mikhail Gorbachev. And right afterwards, the Soviet Union, one by one, came apart. Uh, I don't remember which the nation was first, but Russia also left the Soviet Union. But see, Russia was the one who began the Soviet Union to begin with. And now, right now, as we speak, the nuclear arms treaty between the United States and Russia is essentially over. It's been over. It's been over for quite a while because, according to United States State Department, Russia has been violating the nuclear arms treaty for quite a while. However, during this time, from 1987 until recent years, the world has been, when I say the world, I mean the Western world, has been trying to incorporate this um, agenda of mingling themselves with the seed of men, as written in Daniel. Is it Daniel 2? Daniel 2, verses 44, 45, 43, 44, 45, somewhere in there. Mingle themselves with the seed of men, but just like miry clay and iron do not mix, they will not cleave together at all. Just like it's written in the book of Daniel. But this particular time frame, when they were doing this, was the time they were saying peace and safety, peace and safety, peace and safety. But once again, what I'm saying here is this. Verse Ezekiel 39 and verse 6. That is your marker. That is your marker for 1 Thessalonians 5, verses 1 through 4. That's the one. So when your preacher tries to tell you a peace deal is going to be made between the Antichrist and Israel, he's full of it. He's lying. It's not true. It's absolutely false. You have to dig deep. You have to look at each and every word. Look, folks, look, let me show you something. Matthew 4 and verse 4. What does it say? But Yehoshua, not Jesus, not Jesus, Yehoshua, answered who? He answered the devil, Satan himself, and he said these words, "It is written, man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds out of the mouth of Jehovah." So let's go back to Ezekiel 39 again, and verse 6. You ready? "And I will send a fire on Magog and upon them that dwell securely," not carelessly, securely, "in the coastlands, and they shall know that he is Jehovah." Every word that proceeds out of the mouth of Jehovah. And when the King James translators replace the word securely with carelessly, you choose the word that comes out of the mouth of Jehovah. Carelessly. Securely. Securely, not carelessly. Securely. Because that word, bitach, came out of the mouth of Jehovah himself. Focus on that. Focus on that episode. It is the Gog-Magog War. Focus on that episode. Why did I say that? A little early in the morning. You focus on that sentence, focus on that word. That is what Paul was talking about in 1 Thessalonians 5.